Welcome to the quarterly CE sponsor webinar. And we'd like to introduce ourselves. I'm Masika Vijay, the CE Administrator.
And I'm Joanna Truitt, Manager for Continuing Education and Experience.
We anticipate our webinar today to be about 30 minutes. Before we get started, we have one housekeeping note. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, please type it into the Q&A text box on the right-hand side of the screen. We will address all questions at the end of the presentation. Our agenda for this webinar is to share our plans for using the new data we are now collecting through the revised program submission process, introduce our newest quality partners, provide an update on 2018 CFP Board Ethics, and outline the 2018 CE sponsorship and program renewal process. Let's get started. Additional fields of information were purposely added to the program submission process. We are now able to collect and report on key data elements that we need to make crucial decisions and address some immediate areas of concern.
One new element now links the program title and content to a principal knowledge topic domain. Before this enhancement, we would record what we thought was the principal knowledge topic as part of our review. Unfortunately, this was not a field of information that we could report on. So pre-deployment, we could only make assumptions as to the most popular domains and topics. With the principal knowledge topic domain now a required and reportable field, we're in a better position to begin identifying content gaps. Of the programs submitted to date, we have found that 3 domains are prominently represented. 23% of the programs fall under the general principles of financial planning, 21% in investment planning, and 20% in estate planning. And it's not surprising that education planning, our newest domain, is also our least represented area at 2% of the overall courses to date. This early pattern isn't a true representation of program content in the course of a year, but it does represent the programs submitted since late July, when we typically start program submissions for fall conferences. In past webinars, we've discussed an ongoing project of the Council on Education's CE and Quality Work Group. This project, which is nearing completion, identifies learning objectives for topics within each principal knowledge topic domain and their level of complexity. Once we have a few more months of data, we should begin seeing a more complete picture of what clearly illustrates our gaps. This information, coupled with the domain topics, learning objectives, and level of complexity, will put us in a position to push this information out to our quality partners and CE sponsors in hopes of filling these gaps if it's financially viable for you to do so. Another key program detail is subtype. Of the 13,000 or so annually accepted programs, the most we knew was that 85% of them are live programs and 15% are self-study. Based on our annual renewal trends, we guessed that a majority of the live programs were webinars and conference sessions. This is no longer a guess. We now have data that supports that assertion. Of the programs submitted to date, 65% of the live programs are either conference sessions or webinars, and 48% of self-study programs are recorded webinars. This program detail will help our CFB professionals narrow their program search and find a CE program.
This is a view of our Find a CE program search function from our test site. When a CFP professional selects a delivery method of either live or self-study, a second drop-down appears with a list of subtypes. In this instance, we search for live program conference sessions. I could narrow my search by adding in the sponsor name or topic. The results page returned a listing of all programs in this category. When I selected a specific topic, the results I received provided more information, including the conference title, dates, location, and the URL to the conference registration page. In this example, we conducted a search for live webinars. When I click on the program name, the CFP professional will be able to view the description and the learning objectives, and also have a link to the webinar information on the sponsor's site. We will keep you posted as we finish testing of this enhanced functionality and have a go live date. We wanted to share with you some comments about the new CE Sponsor Portal. These are comments representative of the positive feedback we received. I'm loving the quick turnaround on our programs. Thanks so much. The system is easy. The turnaround time on program reviews also seems very quick. Thank you. Love all the new features, much easier. While we had a number of questions, 3 are the most frequent. I need to make a change to my program submission, but I don't have access to it anymore. Unfortunately, you currently do not have ability to edit the programs once they are paid. We are looking to fix that in version 2.0. Any changes you would like to make, please feel free to forward them to me by email, and I will make the adjustments for you. Next is, when can I attach a program file? You now have the ability to attach program materials during the initial submission. However, it is not required. You also have the functionality to upload materials directly to the program application when we request for it for additional review. Please keep in mind the upload feature will be disabled when the initial offering date listed in the application has already passed. If you are submitting late or running into any errors, feel free to email us the documents instead. Next is, how do I avoid the half credit roundup? If you're in a situation where you want less than what the system auto-calculates, then you're more than welcome to manipulate the minutes or word count to achieve the desired CE hours.
We'd like to introduce our newest quality partners. Each of these organizations opted in to a rigorous review that evaluated the structure and delivery of several of their current active programs. Our 7 new partners include Ameriprise Financial, Investment Management Consultants Association, Kitsis.com, Medicare Rights Center, the National Association of Personal Financial Planners, Quest Continuing Education, and the Retirement Resource Center. If your organization has an interest in becoming a quality partner, please let us know of your interest by sending an email to cesponsor@cfpboard.org. We will be extending invitations to the next group of interested organizations in spring of 2018. For those of you that currently offer CFP Board Ethics or have an interest in doing so in 2018, this update is for you. CE Ethics announcements and updates are posted to the Ethics CE Sponsors webpage. To date, you have access to the PDF version of the August 2nd webinar, as well as a link to the webinar recording. 2 weeks ago, we added a PDF outlining the requirements that will be in effect for 2018 ethics for sponsors who wish to offer the online self-study version. As we identified in the newsletter, CFP Board released the proposed revised standards in June for a 60-day public comment period that ended on August 21st. CFP Board is currently reviewing the feedback, and our Commission on Standards will provide recommendations to the Board of Directors on how to proceed with the proposed revisions. The Board will decide whether to seek another round of comments or issue a final revised standard. When the final revised standards are announced, the board will also announce the effective date for implementation. The new Ethics CE program content and materials will be available after CFP Board adopts the final revised standards. We don't need to wait for the implementation date to begin offering the new ethics content. Our plans to date have been centered around the November board meeting and a scenario where the new standards are ratified at that meeting. We are, however, working on Plan B that would take effect if ratification were at a later date. Plan B might be a game day decision, but we will ensure to keep you in the loop. And we figure that one of the best ways to keep you in the loop is by conducting a webinar. Our next Ethics CE webinar is scheduled for Wednesday, October 11th. We will include the webinar registration link in the follow-up email you'll receive in the next few days, and we'll also post it to the site and send out a broader email announcement.
I'm not really sure where the summer went, and September is nearing its end, which means it's time for the 2018 renewal process to begin. Keep an eye on your inbox for the full renewal instructions, which will be distributed on Tuesday, October 17th. We'll send you an email notification on Tuesday, October 24th, confirming the renewal period is open. You should expect to receive gentle reminders every 2 weeks through the first week of January. We will close the renewal period early on Monday, January 15th, at which time both your sponsorship and programs will be changed to inactive status. As mentioned in previous broadcasts, there will be no increase in the sponsorship or general program fees. Rejoining at a time later in the year is always an option, but we do hope you have found value in your relationship with CFP Board to make the renewal decision an easy one. Last year, we tried something a little different as it relates to program renewals. It was a trial run for the new portal. This year is our transition year. Any program you submitted after July 20th, when the new portal went live, with a program life cycle of current and future years, will automatically be on your renewal list. We will do the same for live and self-study programs submitted prior to July 20th. As discussed with our current Ethics CE providers, we will auto-renew your programs and provide you specific directions based on the decisions made at the November board meeting related to the new standards. Your renewal process is simplified this year. The first step is to pay your sponsorship fee. Once paid, the system will add the list of programs to be renewed under the Manage Program Renewal section. From this list, you'll click the Pay box of those programs you wish to renew and proceed to checkout. Those programs you select to not renew will move to inactive status on January 15th.
As is customary, we will have updated terms and conditions ready and available to you. In fact, they've just been ratified and approved today and will be online probably within the next few days. We want to give you a chance to be able to review them before the renewal period opens. This year, just as we've consolidated sponsor types, we will have only one annual agreement, and that will cover both general and ethics programs. When you renew, the assumption will be that you agree to comply with the applicable terms and conditions. Once the renewal period is closed, we will provide those of you who have renewed with a worksheet listing the list of programs for 2018 that were submitted in the system prior to July 20th. This worksheet will have several columns. Using a simple drop-down, you'll provide us with the missing information, such as program subtype, life cycle, and principal knowledge topic domain. We will also have a column for you to add a direct link to the program description or registration page on your site to add to Find a CE program. This exercise will bring all of our programs in 2018 up to date and in compliance with the new standards. We've covered a number of areas we thought you'd be of interest to you. Now it's time to answer any questions. So we do have one question from Patricia, and her question is, if a program has been approved for 2 hours, but one person leaves 30 minutes early, is there a way to modify the CPE for that specific attendee?
Yes, there is. We do take that by case because we do not offer partial credit with how our system is set up. But if that individual, if you reach out to us with that individual's certain situation, we can definitely make that exception and adjust their CE hours manually.
So in other words, you'll go ahead and report the attendance as they did participate in all 2 hours. And again, just let us know and we'll change their 2 hours to 1.5. Any other questions from the group? Jessica asks, so any programs that were submitted and approved after July 20th are valid through 2018 as long as the 2018 dates were added to the listing? No?
Any program that is submitted after July 20th with the life cycle of current and future years will be the programs that we choose to add to your renewal list.
Mm-hmm.
Once you make those payments, though, then the program will be active for 2018.
Exactly. So again, one thing that's nice about the new system is that when you're entering your program, you're actually telling us whether or not you have plans to renew it for more than 1 year. And we know that most of your conference programs, many of your webinars, typically are not renewed annually. So again, those will go into your list for renewal. You'll be able to put a check next and pay the fee, so they'll be ready for 2018. Lori asks, we don't typically know in advance if our classes will need to be renewed in 2018. How do we identify the classes to renew to you even if they are recent?
I guess the best way for it is just to, you're more than welcome to send us an email just with the list of programs you would like to renew for 2018, and if they don't have that life cycle that we need, we'll go ahead and adjust it for you.
Yep, absolutely. So again, we appreciate that as well, that sometimes it's a late decision. We have the ability on the back end to change any of the information related to the program.
The next question we have is, for ethics, will be requiring instructors to attend a training on how to deliver content?
We will. We will work with our subject matter experts once the course is complete to pull together a webinar, probably about 50 minutes in length. We'll offer it once or twice live after all of the ethics sponsors have had the opportunity to review the content. And we'll record that webinar and have it available for instructors for future use.
We have a question from Ashley. Can you review the difference between a standalone workshop or seminar and a conference session, please?
Absolutely. A conference session is just that. It's typically part of an event where you're offering multiple sessions. And they all have, they're all in the same geographic location. They're under the same program title. So in other words, you know, it's the estate planning conference. And under the estate planning conference, I might have 2 or 3 tracks with several sessions within each track. A standalone workshop or seminar is just that. It is typically a single program title with specific content and learning objectives for that program title.
Question from Stephanie. I was driving and I missed the beginning of this course. but are we holding our first class this Friday? Do you need to issue certificates to our participants, or do you mail them something after I upload who attended?
We're not real sure. We're hoping that you're not in the wrong place, Stephanie. But basically, this is an informational webinar. So as such, we don't offer CE or provide certificates. If you're asking whether or not or when certificates should be issued to participants, that should be, in fact, it can happen after their attendance. It doesn't necessarily have to wait until their attendance is reported. Mm-hmm. So again, we have some instances where immediately upon completion, the certificate of completion is available to the individual. That's perfectly acceptable.
The next question, question from Jenny. Can we still renew courses that are just approved for this year? Do we need to email you about those courses? Yes, you will have to email us those courses that you would like to renew that have the life cycle of current year only. We can make those adjustments for you. Mm-hmm.
And those adjustments on the back end are really easy for us to make. So just send us a list of the program with the program ID and the course title, and we'll take care of that for you.
The next question is just a follow-up question to the ethics one. Will you keep track of this? We require the instructor name on the certificate. We want to be sure to build the controls in our system for this.
Ah, gotcha. We do track through the attestations that are submitted. And also, when you make a request to offer, in particular, a live CE program, we'll ask you to identify those individuals and give us their CFP board number. We do take that information and share it immediately with our professional standards team. There is a current background that's conducted for these individuals, and then we'll follow up with you just to make sure that that person is cleared and has completed all the requirements. So again, typically we track instructors online based on the submission of their attestation and the CE sponsor providing us their name and CFP board ID. Are there any other questions from the group? We just wanted to thank you for participating in this webinar. It's been quicker than most, but hopefully you found the information helpful. We will, in fact, be sending out some detailed information about the new renewal process with instructions on how to proceed. We'll also make sure that we send you notifications for that October 11th ethics update that we mentioned. And you should get all of this information within the next couple of days.
It looks like we might have one more question. It looks like we have one more question from Jenny. Do we have the option to not renew courses if they are originally filed for the future years? Yes, you're more than welcome to. So when you go through the renewal process, they'll be listed on that list in the bottom and manage program renewals. You're more than welcome to just disregard that. When it hits around January 15th, that program will be switched over to inactive, and the invoice will be closed out.
Yep. So absolutely. It'll be real easy for you to decide which programs you do renew and which you don't. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you all very much for your time this afternoon. We actually got finished earlier than our 30 minutes, and we want to give you some time back. So again, thank you very much for participating in the webinar. If you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to send either Hasika or I an email. Always happy to entertain your questions and speak with you. Thank you very much.